In 2024, a crack unit of players was excluded from the England international squad for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security training facility to the rugby underground. Today, still wanted by the fans, they survive as players of misfortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can watch the A-Team. So we have the England senior squad for the autumn internationals, but now I think it's a good time to look at what an A-Team might be like, because once the autumn internationals hit us, it's going to be so rammed, I don't know if I'm going to squeeze that video in. Now, firstly, I really like the idea of the A-Team coming back. Steve Borthwick has brought back more games, so fair play to him. Definitely a way to go, I think, because developing players outside of the England squad is important as well. And I do think it should be used to develop players towards the 2027 World Cup, especially considering this squad that Borthwick has picked isn't really a developmental squad. It's one full of players that have been with him for a little bit of time, and he's building on continuity. If you're going to do that, I think you have to use this A-Team squad as a developmental team rather than just rewarding older pros maybe who are pretty close but probably just not quite up to the grade. So that's what I'm going to go for in this team. I think most of them, I'll put the ages on this team as well, should be peaking for 2027. Let me know what your team would be and also which of these players you think will make it to that 2027 World Cup. Straight into the front row, Urbano a little bit older at 29 years old, but with a prop it does take a little bit longer to mature, so I think he'll be peaking at his best for 2027, and his form is phenomenal, so strong, so powerful. Desperately unlucky not to be in this international squad because he hasn't been with the England squad for a while because of not being selected and injury. He wasn't in over Marler, so he has to be in this A squad, and I would start him. His form is so good. At hooker, it has to be Gabriel O'Gray. His form for Bristol is phenomenal. Maybe you could argue, maybe not quite the biggest hooker, could that hold him back a bit, but he's playing so well, so dynamic, so fast. His throwing is brilliant as well. Don't really see many weaknesses in his game, maybe apart from that pure size. He has to start for me. And I could go for Joe Hayes starting at tight head, who's really playing well, probably the best rugby he's ever played, the 24-year-old, but I think Asher Apoko-Fajor is so good. Even though he's 20 years old, this A game for me is a perfect game for him, and I just want to see him start. You could have him coming off the bench, but he's so good, I think you start him. On the bench there, the hooker could well be Curtis Langdon, but hasn't started the season that well. And I'm just so excited by Nathan Jabulu, 21 years old now, the Harlequin, going to be about 23, 24 come the World Cup. Could be absolutely perfect. So let's give him a go. 21 years old. He's not too young. He's playing well. Get him in there. And then on the bench alongside Joe Hayes, who, as I said, 25. I think he's coming into his best years. Emmanuel Yogan has been showing he's really matured as starter for Northampton. I think that is the front row and replacement front row that I want to see. Second rows are a little thin on the ground. We do know that. Hugh Tizard has bulked up a lot and it's really starting to show, showing some big power for Saracens. Him and Chunya Munga, both 24 years old, perfect development stage towards the World Cup. Munga again getting more starts this season with Northampton, being a lot better, a bit of a leader, a little bit chunkier as well. Those two are one to watch. And who's on the bench? Well, it could be Rusi Tuima, but I haven't seen too much special from him yet this season, and I have seen a lot from Joe Batley. I think he's absolutely phenomenal. The Bristol second row, let's see him in an international setting against Australia A. It is a stronger opposition than the Portugal team, probably, that they played last year, so Batley on the bench. And the back row, look at the balance of this back row. I absolutely love it. There's so many great players that you could play in the A-Team, and I think you can put more in the squad than just a 23, of course, because you're doing some training. You're not going to have just 23 players picked, so Kenningham, Guy Pepper, Alfie Barbary, they'd be great in this squad as well, but Ted Hill, Will Evans, Tom Willis, is that a better back row than the one that's going to start for the full England team? I would hazard a guess that yes, maybe it is, and look at the age there, 25, 27, 25, perfect coming to World Cup, and just great balance. Hill's been phenomenal in the line out around the park, so quick. Still, we can't fathom why he's not in the England squad. It's a head scratcher. If he has a big A game, that's a good way to put himself forward. Will Evans has been the best 7 in the Premiership, probably for a couple of years. He's a bit smaller, but that doesn't mean you can't be a great 7. Plenty of great 7s around the world are a bit smaller. And Tom Willis as well, along with Ted Hill. Unbelievable, really, that he's been left out. The reason is, of course, that Dombrandt has been with England for a bit longer and Borthwick is just going for that continuity rather than who is the best player at the moment, which is Tom Willis. He's going to want to prove a point, get him in that A team. I like the look of that pack. In and around that kind of mid-20s age range, I think it could be phenomenal. At 9, I think it's an easy pick, with Spencer, Randall and Van Poortvliet picked for England seniors, and Mitchell injured. Will Porter is the obvious choice to start at 9. 25 years old, again, perfect age range. I've tried to keep them in this age range in this team. He's an easy choice. Backing him up, though, we're a little bit short, and I'd probably promote Archie McParland, the Northampton youngster, only 19, but he's got a big future. If there was someone else really performing well in that Premiership, I'd probably put them in ahead of him, but I think McParland's done enough to get in there. But let me know who you'd put on the bench. 10, I would definitely play Fergus Burke. I think he's a step up from what I've seen from Charlie Atkinson, say, who played last season. And I think he's got an all-round game. He's a really good attacker as well. He's opportunist, but he's got that kicking game as well. 25 years old once again. I think he is one to have there. And 26-year-old Harvey Skinner on the bench. Definitely improving. Skinner, a real athlete. He would thrive, I think, in this situation. And in the centres, I am going to be a little controversial and pick 2 12s because kind of England have taken all the 13s in form at the moment. And I think you've got to have a look at Anyanwu and Butt. There's no reason why you can't play 2 big centres in the team. It would be scary to face for sure. So I think Butt, who's played on the wing, probably more likely to play at 13, but you could change them around. So Anyanwu and Butt. I know it's not the perfect balance, but goodness me, it's going to scare the hell out of any opposition. And again, 23 years old, 24 years old, perfect age range there for a back. Back's obviously maturing a little bit quicker normally. On the wings, here is the chance to play Tobias Elliott and Gabriel Ibitoy. Probably the most dangerous 2 wingers in the Premiership this year. Elliott, 21 years old, very young, but like I said, younger backs, younger wingers can come through a bit quicker. Ibitoy's been around the block a bit more, but at 26, he's still in his athletic prime and showing it here. Great chance for Ibitoy to show his tackling, his kicking is up to scratch, and I think Elliott already has an all-round game. So what a backline, rounded off by 24-year-old Josh Hodge. He's definitely come on this season. You could have put Barton in there, George Barton or Joe Carpenter, but I think Hodge is the one who's probably got a bit more of a ceiling on him. Quite slight, he has bulked up a bit. That's the one thing that I think could hold him back a bit. He's got to show he can make those big tackles, be in the right place, not force offloads, but I think he's probably got the most talent of the lot there, of those 15. So he starts. What a backline, power in the centres, express pace out wide. Look at that back 3, definitely going to be quicker than the back 3 that England put out, the England seniors put out. Super scary. Can they have the rest of the game to match it? And the rest on the bench, I think Tom Pearson for me just pips it on the bench, but Kenningham, Pepper or Barbary would be great picks as well. Pearson's only 23. It seems like he's been around for a little bit, but he's going to get better and better. Get a more rounded game. He could well be charging into that senior squad as a first call up if there is an injury. Then alongside McParland and Skinner, Oscar Beard, the 22-year-old Harlequin, only 22, I thought he was a bit older. He's getting better and better, and he covers centre and wing, which would be a good guy to have in a 23. So that is my A team. I would love to watch this team. Let me know who you would pick and why, what you make of my team. If you like these sorts of videos, please like, please subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will catch you next time.